Welcome back to Giant Monster Games. I'm Adrian, and today we are playing Death and Taxes once again. What do we think of this opening hand? I think it's actually a fantastic opening hand. Mostly because we have some planes, and we have some Leonin Arbiters. Leonin Arbiter. We're going to keep it. We're keeping it. It is good. It is worth keeping. We're on the draw, and we're playing someone playing Flood Strands over here. So, depending on what our opponent fetches up, it is an island. Okay. I was hoping we weren't playing some more, like, Jeskai combo or something like this, because that was no fun. It was, especially because, like, there's some decks that you play against regularly. You play against Tron regularly, you play against a bunch of stuff regularly. Playing against the Jeskai combo deck, I have not played against in a while, and I lost my last game to it really badly. So, yeah, I mean, spoiler if you haven't seen that video, I guess. What do I think? So we have two ways of going. One, we can play Thraben Inspector, and our opponent doesn't know what's going on. Or we can play Dryad Militant. I think we play Thraben Inspector. Our opponent knows at this point now we're playing Death and Taxes. Thraben Inspector is like the hot card for Death and Taxes right now. So yeah, our opponent is like, okay, yeah, we know what we're playing against. So this is giving away a little bit of information to our opponent, which I guess happens. I mean, it happens quite regularly. So I wonder what we're playing against. We may be playing against... Maybe we are playing against the Jeskai combo deck. It's possible. Very, very possible. Mindcensor as well. Cool. So I think Ghost Quarter, I think just tossing down the Arbiter and swinging for one. Probably should have done that in reverse order. Swung for one and then played the Arbiter. Not playing as good as I could, I guess, already. I bet our opponent's going to bolt this guy like straight away. Yeah, and our opponent's playing all these old cards, which is pretty cool. Pretty cool indeed. Okay, swinging for one. Go to our opponent's turn. So we're playing against blue-red something or other. Could be another Jeskai combo. Completely possible. Could be something else as well. Could be like an Izzet Delver deck. Okay. Spreading Seas, that's fine by us, I guess. I mean, it means we're not going to blow stuff up, but at the same time we can also just use something to flicker this, which is fine. By something I mean Flickerwisp to flicker it. And our opponent plays another Serum Visions. The spreads are actually using Serum Visions and not actually, unless they are playing a Delver deck. Because I think Opt is actually better, the fact that you can hold up mana and then do it on your opponent's end step. I'm actually thinking, the more I see Opt, the more I'm like, Opt is definitely the better card between the two. So, and at this point, we make our opponent have a bad day. So hold on, cancel that. We're going to swing for one first. First, swing for one. Unfortunately, we only have white mana. We don't have other mana, which is sad. Is very sad. And I guess we could also play Mindcensor as well. So what do we think? Mindcensor or Spirit of Labyrinth? Spirit of Labyrinth will slow our opponent down from drawing cards, which is a card, something that he's doing a lot of. Or Mindcensor allows our opponent not to search up cards. Both are theoretically good options. The other option is also playing like the other Thraben Inspector or Blade Splicer even. We have a couple options. What do we think we should do? What is the best bet? Mindcensor, flashing Mindcensor in is not a bad idea. Not a bad idea at all. I think that's actually what we're going to do. Actually, no. If we're going to play, we're going to play it now. Because our opponent could always remand or, counter something if we don't play like the Mindcensor right now. Yeah. Well, the other option is Blade Splicer as well. I think Mindcensor is probably the best bet. Playing it now, obviously we don't necessarily want to play it on our turn. We'd rather play it with Flash. But again, we don't want to play it and leave our opponent have the let our opponent have the option of countering it. It's not a thing. Maybe it is Jeskai again. Oh my god. Please don't tell me it's Jeskai again. Okay, well, we could clue Spirit of Labyrinth, or we could Spirit of Labyrinth, Thraben Inspector, Dryad Militant. I think we swing for first. Swing. Well, all the other option is also Blade Splicer and say Dryad Militant. The thing is, if we are playing against the Jeskai deck, which it looks like we are again, which is annoying, Spirit of Labyrinth is actually a better play because it prevents him from drawing a ton of cards, which is what he's going to be aiming to do. So I think we draw Spirit of Labyrinth. I think that's going to be the line of play. I think that is the line of play. Actually, hold on. The other option is also the Field of Ruining his stuff, which is also not a terrible idea. cancel that. I think that's actually what we're going to do. We are going to sack Field of Ruin to destroy his Sacred Foundry. I think that's what we do. Get rid of his white, which in theory would get rid of his path. He may Cryptic. No, he can't. What is? There's nothing in Cryptic. Oh, he can Cryptic to return target permanent to its owner's hand. Yeah, I guess. I guess that's a thing. So we're both going to go fetch up basic land, which is fine. We're both at 0. Both at 0. And it comes into play tapped or untapped. I think it comes into play untapped. Untapped. Neat. Well, now that he's Cryptic'd it, we're going to just play Spirit of Labyrinth and prevent him from drawing cards. Okay, well, let's see how this plans out. See how this pans out. It was a line of play that I was hoping would be better. The one thing about playing Death and Taxes, and something you're going to have to realize as you play Death and Taxes, if you want to go and play it, is you need to really think about, like, what are the best lines of play that you can be doing. Izzet Charm is not very fun. Thalia would be really good in this deck right now, but we don't have Thalia, so that's a thing. But you need to be thinking about, like, what are the optimum lines of play? What can I be doing here? What can I be doing there? Flickerwisp is really cool because we can flicker our Ghost Quarter and blow his stuff up, but we don't have the option to do that right now. So I think as we play Mindcensor, he may just remand it. That's the thing. If we play, he doesn't really have anything with Militant. Doesn't really help us a ton right now. We can always draw, hopefully draw into a land. Play Blade Splicer. That's an option. I think we just swing in for 1 to start out with. Yeah, I think we swing in for 1. And then I think we play Militant because it's going to be doing more damage to us, and then we actually hold up for Mindcensor. Not the best of the best, but I think it's actually going to be the better play because then our opponent has to also leave up mana to potentially counter Mindcensor. I think that's going to be the better way. Force our opponent to have to play around the fact that we have Mindcensor in play. Or Mindcensor in hand. So, kind of, you know, try and, again, what's the best line of play and how's the best way to actually think this out? So this is, I think, what we're going to do. Because I'm 99% sure we're playing against... I say 99% sure we're playing against another Jeskai deck, but I actually don't think we are. I just think we're playing against some other Jeskai deck. Maybe it's like sort of a Jeskai combo deck, but not fully, because most of the Jeskai combo decks aren't running Cryptic Command. Triple blue, that's super hard to make happen. Unless you're playing a deck, especially in a 3-color deck. In a 2-color deck, sure. 3-color deck, a little bit more risky. Just a little bit more risky. So what is our opponent doing? It is our opponent's turn. I wonder if they know it's their turn. Waiting on you. Hang on you. You can't see me typing, but I'm typing behind the veil of the card list over here. Seeing what our opponent decides he wants to do. Okay, so our opponent decides to do nothing. Sure. And then we are going to, again, play... sorry, no problem. Apparently our opponent was having some lag. And then we're going to play Dryad Militant. Not because we need to play Dryad Militant, but because it's actually going to swing for 2 each turn. Make our opponent's clock a little bit slower, rather than if we play... Oh, neat. So our opponent's going to remand it. That's funny. Well, in this case, we'll just play the Mindcensor right now, then. That's totally fine for me. I'd rather get Mindcensor into play. That's fine. Okay, well, ship it to our opponent's turn. See what they have to say. See what they have to do. Yeah. And we're just going to skip to our turn. Nothing we're doing. I'm assuming our opponent may also have some way of actually dealing with him. 6 cards in hand. Our opponent should have tons of answers at this point. And Field of Ruin. That's exciting. So if I play Field of Ruin... If I play Field of Ruin, I can actually tap. Hold on. Do I have enough mana to do that? I do. I do have enough mana to do that. So what we're going to do, I think... So we have a couple options. The first one is we can blow up his stuff, which is what we're going to actually try and do. So we're going to Serum Visions. We're not going to Serum Visions. We're going to Serum Visions. What am I talking about here? We're going to Field of Ruin, blowing up his Steam Vent. If he has a way of dealing with Aven Mindcensor, cool. cool for him. If not, we're going to fetch up a Plains, and then we're going to Flickerwisp to get... So what does he have? Assuming he has a way of dealing with Aven Mindcensor. Cryptic Command. Again. Well, that's a thing that happens, I guess. Do I do anything about that? I don't think so. I think we're just going to both lose a card, which is fine. Which is totally fine. So we get another Plains, and the options are now either another Mindcensor or Flickerwisp blowing up Ghost Quarter. I think... Or... yeah. Cancel. Yeah. Okay, let's go to combat. I wasn't expecting him to have another Cryptic Command, actually. That seemed crazy to me. I was not expecting that. Yeah. Oh well, happens. Yeah. Yeah. Because, I mean, if he didn't have Cryptic Command, didn't have a Bounce It, he would have lost a land, or at least only could have dug 4 deep for a land, which, I mean, is not terrible, theoretically. And then we would have then played Flickerwisp, bouncing the Ghost Quarter. And then getting Ghost Quartered back, which would have been fun. But that's not the way it played out, which is fine. So our opponent's going to take just 1. And, again, we can either leave up Mindcensor. We can play Mindcensor right now, which I don't think our opponent has the mana for. Or we can... What else do we do? We could draw and play Militant. I don't think that's even well worth it at all. I think we literally play Mindcensor now. Yeah. Or we play Flickerwisp now. I think we play Flickerwisp now. Not the best. It's kind of like it's deciding what's better. Playing Mindcensor so he can't fetch, but he doesn't have any fetch lands in play. But if we play Flickerwisp, then we can get rid of Ghost Quarter, which will allow us to Ghost Quarter one of his stuff when we play Mindcensor next turn. If we play Mindcensor next turn. So, yeah, there's a couple ways around this. It's, again, I'm not... I mean, I quite enjoy Death and Taxes. Like, this is actually one of the funner decks I've played in a long time. I say that in a long time, but I mean, realistically, I've played Hydras recently, and I love the Hydras deck so much. So, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'm not used to the, like, heavy interaction of, like, what is my best call? What is going on here? What's the best line of play? Because that's one big thing when you're playing Death and Taxes, is you really need to know what the meta is and what the deck you're playing against and what's the best play. At this point, I mean, I think we're doing fine. Again, I'm not really sure what our opponent's playing. It looks like the Jeskai combo deck, but without some of the pieces, it looks like. I'm not really sure. Jeskai something or other. Maybe he's just Jeskai junk. And he's playing a bunch of just control. Oh, there's Opt. Neat. Yeah. Looks like our opponent's just kind of playing a bunch of control. And we leave up Ghost Quarter for now. Yeah. Because our opponent has tons of good stuff in here. Like, most everything in here that we've seen so far is, like, good cards, but I don't see the win con. So, maybe he's playing, like, Jeskai... And why would you splash Jeskai? Why would you splash white? Just for what? Just for Path? Doesn't really seem worth it at all. Who knows? We'll see, I guess. We'll find out at some point, I'm assuming. So, there's a fetch land. So, he's going to electrolyze our Flickerwisp. Sure. Unfortunate, but understandable. And so he's going to be able to fetch in response to our Mindcensor. So he's going to have to fetch on his turn. If we would have left up, he wouldn't have been able to play Scalding Tarn, because we could have actually just played Mindcensor in response to his Scalding Tarn. And Blood Moon. Okay, well, this begs the question, do we crack the Ghost Quarter to blow up his mountain right now? I think... the answer is no, because he's going to get a mountain from this anyways. So it makes no difference. We just have a mountain now. Ghost Quarter would have been cool, but I think this is the way we're going now. So that slows our deck down a little bit. Not a ton. Not completely. Just a little bit. Okay. So at this point, we can play Arbiter. We can play Mindcensor. We can play Blade Splicer. Blade Splicer is probably the best one to play out of this group at this point, because he's not going to be fetching much else, so these don't really make that big a difference. The other options we could try and draw, and hopefully draw into Spirit of the Labyrinth, which may be a good one, because it'll prevent him from drawing so much. But is that actually a good idea, is the next question here. Our opponent literally sent us a message saying, Moon does next to nothing against you at this point. Yeah. The thing about playing, I mean, if we had Ghost Quarter, we could have like played Leon and then blown up his stuff, but it doesn't really seem to be amazing right now. I think we are going to... I think we're just gonna go all in. Why not? Might as well just go for it all. Our opponent's just saying like, it's like Blood Moon isn't really good against a lot of decks I've played tonight, which is sad for our opponent. Because sometimes it's true. Sometimes you play stuff like Blood Moon and you're like, this isn't doing anything for anyone. I guess realistically we probably should have played Arbiter just in case he did want to fetch for something, but at this point I don't think he would be. Yeah. Okay, well we've put down a board state, and now it's up to our opponent to decide whether they can handle the board state. That's the next real question for our opponent here. It is our swinging for one and shipping it to our opponent's turn. So let's see how this actually pans out. Our opponent sent 6, so he needs to either kill everything. Now he's going to go to sideboard. Okay, well, we're going to sideboard. What do we sideboard against this deck? Well, I didn't see... Again, I didn't see the Jeskai stuff. I don't know if we're actually playing against Jeskai or if he just had white to splash something. Maybe he's had white to splash Supreme Verdict? Maybe? Again, we didn't see red stuff. We saw some red spells, but not a ton. I think we throw in these guys and take out... maybe 2 Militants? I guess? I mean, the other options we can play... Yeah, I think that's what we do. I don't think there's really much in the way of changes we can make right at this point. I think I just realized... I don't think my sideboard's all there. I don't think I have the Dusk Till Dawns, because I think Dusk Till Dawn actually might have been a good option. Huh. Neat. Remember that time I didn't have a full sideboard? That's right now. And what do I think of this opening hand? It's pretty high. Pretty high curve. If we draw another land, we don't have a turn 1 play. I think we're gonna mulligan. I mean, this is a good like turn 2 play, but we don't have any land. We're on the draw, mind you. So we have 2 turns. No, we're gonna keep. We're gonna keep. It's not terrible. It doesn't have a lot of interaction. It doesn't have as much interaction as I want. I actually want quite a bit more interaction, to be quite honest. And yeah, but we need to draw another land so we actually get turn 3 drops. Turn 3 drops. Turn 3 is into play. But turn 2 Leon is really Leonin. I keep saying Leon, like, because he's a lion, he's a cat. Oh, there's a land. Neat. I keep saying, like, Leon, but in reality it's Leonin. Leonin. Yep. Pass / ship it to our opponent's turn. But yeah, so I mean, Leonin on turn 2 is actually really good, especially against a deck like his where he is going to be fetching up something at some point. Unless he plays a red mana on this turn. No, as soon as we play this, he's gonna crack. Which is kind of funny. Which is super duper funny. I wish we had 3 mana. 3 mana, then we would just Aven Mindcensor in response to him cracking Scalding Tarn. Not gonna happen. He's gonna crack it on our turn. Well, let's play the plane. We know it's about to happen. Ship it. He's gonna crack in response because he doesn't really want to get caught with his pants down. No one wants to be caught with their pants down. Get Steam Vents. Probably. No, he's paying 2 mana for it, so he's gonna blow up Leonin right away, which is fine. Lightning Bolt. Gone. It's fine. Next turn we're gonna play Mindcensor, which is perfectly fine for us. And then what else do we do? Sulphur Falls. Shackles. That's neat. That's super neat. That's the neatest thing I've ever seen in my entire life. The neatest thing I've ever seen. Huh. Can control target creature with power less than or equal to the number of islands you control for as long as you control Shackles. So we're playing against an Iskai control deck. Or Jeskai control deck, one of the two. Well, we don't have a ton of stuff that I'm too concerned about. We don't have any artifact destruction in our main deck. We do have Flickerwisp, which is nice. So I think what we do is we play something safe. Like Spirit of Labyrinth. Prevent him from drawing a bunch of cards. which is nice. We can also path stuff, which is fine. When we path stuff, is it's controller or its owner? It's controller. So if he takes control of this and we path it, he gets to draw land, which is no fun. No fun at all. The thing is, if we get another land, which may happen, hopefully sooner rather than later, we can actually Resto Angel something or other. Resto Angel, it's a creature we control. Oh, that doesn't work at all. Doesn't work at all. But anyway, we can still Flickerwisp. Still Flickerwisp in theory. We'll see. We'll see how this pans out. I'm not really sure. Our opponent can't have Spirit Labyrinth in play. He's going to have to destroy it because he relies on drawing cards. Stuff like Serum Visions, fixing the top of his deck. That's an entire aspect of control decks, is being able to control the number of cards you're drawing, getting extra card draw. Super important. So our opponent is thinking, what do I do at this point? Spirit of Labyrinth isn't really a card you see a ton of because there's a lot of decks that also want card draw. So it's neat. It's good. I like it. I'm glad that it's super budget. I'm glad that we get to play with it. It's also a 3-1. I didn't like... That's not relevant. 3-1 is actually relatively substantial. Because think, I can swing it for 3 damage each turn with this if he doesn't get rid of it or doesn't deal with it. Pretty rad. Pretty rad indeed. And unfortunately, though, the one downside of like a lot of these enchantment creatures is as long as they have creature destruction or enchantment destruction, they can get rid of it. So there's a lot of stuff out there that just destroys this with multiple different cards. So that is the downside of these. And that's why I think why I actually don't see a lot of the kind of enchantment creatures seeing a lot of play. Is because they're actually pretty easy to get rid of. And almost every single deck out there has some kind of sideboard extra hate for them. So yeah. Because there's a bunch of them. There's a bunch of enchantment creatures that are really good that you kind of would expect they would see maybe a little bit more play. I guess realistically the one I'm thinking about actually does see play, and that's Courser of Krufix. Sees a fair amount of play because it's fantastic, but it's also an enchantment creature, which means there's a lot of extra stuff that can kill it. Mind you, it's not the kind of card you want to kill. You don't want to spend mana to destroy Courser of Krufix. It looks like our opponent is having another lag spike, by the way, so they are currently stuck. Maybe their mana, maybe their thing crashed, who knows. We'll see. Hopefully they'll come back. Because this game is, we're at 1-0 right now. So we have 2 more games against them. This game and the next one. Assuming, if they win this one, which may be possible. I mean, Death and Taxes is usually relatively good against other control decks. Even more so when you have Thalia in your deck, which we don't have, unfortunately. Because Thalia makes all their spells cost 1 additional. So instead of Lightning Bolts costing 1, they cost 2. Zero Visions cost 2. Yeah, things get expensive really quickly. You realize the difference between 1 mana and 2 mana is literally an additional 100%. And the difference between 2 mana and 3 mana is 50%. Math. Simple math, which I'm telling you guys right now. So, yeah, sorry that our opponent is taking so long. I mean, it looks like they're having some lag issues. I'm going to text them right now. Say, hey, what's up? What's the deal? What's up? I'm going to go with what's up. I think that's more bro speak. Hey, what's up? The one outside is you guys can't totally see it. I'll show you guys. So this is the problem I have right here. So instead of putting just like one little the comma's the wrong word. What is it called? I forget the name of the word. The dash. I always do 2 now because at work I have a French keyboard, so I have to when I'm typing in English, the quotation mark and the single one. Comma? Is it comma? Oh my god. I can't remember what it is. Anyways, they are reversed on a French keyboard. So for an English keyboard, you hit the button straight, and for a French keyboard, you have to hit shift in that one. So I always do this accidentally where I put a quotation mark instead of the other ones. Yeah. I know, fun story, right? Story time with Adrian. Who would have guessed? Especially about French keyboards. French keyboards are really weird as well because on a French keyboard you don't have the question mark in the same spot. It's actually the Shift 6 key, which is really weird. It took me forever to figure that out because they don't actually have it marked properly on the keyboard I have at work. So I just kind of had to mash buttons until I found it. So that's super weird. Where the question mark actually is on a French keyboard is actually the E with a little thing above it because they use it all the time when you're typing French. So. For the record, my French is terrible, so don't ask me to speak French or type French because that is definitely not my specialty. So, our opponent, are they coming back? I don't know if they're coming back. You might just be like hanging out. So maybe I should just jump into story time with Adrian here, other than that's what I've already been doing. So let's talk about some of the decks I got going on here, because if you're watching this point and if you've already been sitting through me waiting for 4 minutes for our opponent to come back, you're going to probably sit through more, I'm assuming. So let's talk about the decks I have going on. So I think the next deck, usually I put up voting. And I have a Patreon now where there's going to be some more voting going on, so I'm actually taking the voting from the Giant Monster Games channel, the YouTube channel, and actually putting it onto Patreon. So if you're a Patreon backer, you can be involved in what decks are coming up. But I think the next deck I'm going to do is actually going to be a Zoo deck, because I've had a lot of requests. I had a lot of requests for this deck, so Death and Taxes, and a lot of requests for Zoo as well. So the next deck's going to be Zoo. It's probably going to be green-red Zoo, because that's the easiest one to build right now, even though I really wanted to make a Naya Zoo deck, which is not super budget, so it was either like make a $120 Zoo deck or make like a $65, $70 Zoo deck. So we're gonna go with the $65, $70 one, because that's a little bit more within budget price ranges. And then I'll be also doing the same as I did with this one. We're linking to a less budget version of the deck that is also relatively solid. I think it's pretty solid as well, and it's there's going to be like a path to upgrade. So this is the plan for the next deck I have going on. And then outside of that, there's a bunch of other decks that I'm kind of working on. I'm trying to the thing I realized that I didn't do on the channel yet, and I kind of want to check them all off, is all the decks that you would regularly see or hear of. I mean, there's a lot of really cool decks that I want to build, like the Negatives Counter deck is really funny, the Blasting Zombies deck, the Hydras deck, which is notably one of my favorite decks, is they're the kind of decks that I really enjoy and really like playing and like showing on the channel. But there's also a lot of people that on this channel that you guys, maybe you, the person that's watching right now, are more interested in seeing decks as well that they can take out to an FNM and potentially upgrade and play a little bit more competitively if you want to have a stronger deck. So I'm kind of trying to check off a bunch of these boxes for decks that I haven't made yet that I can easily, or I say easily, I can make, that are going to be like decks that you could actually upgrade. So example, working on Infect, working on Mono Red Burn, or Mono Red Aggro, really Mono Red Burn. It's actually Burn specifically is what I'm working on. And there's a bunch of other ones. Zoo, Death and Taxes are a good one. Mono White Prison I have underway. And there's a bunch of other ones as well. So just that are like the ones you search for, the decks that you hear of. You're like, oh, I mean, you may have been like, oh, I've heard of Death and Taxes. Like, what is a Death and Taxes deck? Let's talk about it. Let's show you a Death and Taxes deck. So so trying to check off all of those boxes right now. So hopefully within the next month and a half, I'll have all those decks done, and then we'll get back to a little bit more crazy decks, kind of getting into the back into the against the odds style decks. Where let's make something that's a little bit crazier, a little bit more in the kind of casual range, because I know people want to see casual decks as well. I mean, that's one of the reasons why people play Magic, is not just to play competitive top decks, but to also play oh, look at this really funny deck that does work. I mean, it has these decks that it's a bad matchup for, but it does work and it's really fun. And I know a lot of people on the channel have commented that, hey, I really like I like the Mono Red Aggro deck, or the Elemental deck, it's super funny, or I like the Hydra deck, or you might like the Zombies deck, because zombies, who doesn't want a zombie themed deck? That's fantastic. Zombies are fantastic and funny. So at this point, we're down to 9 minutes on our opponent's clock. I have a hunch our opponent is not coming back. Maybe they got sad and they had to shut down their computer, they had to go to bed. Their mom came in and was like, hey, time to go to bed, you need to shut down your computer, you're done for the night. This is actually one of the things that actually changing subjects altogether. We're just gonna keep going on random Adrian Talks time. So this is actually gonna be the secret video with Adrian Talks about stuff. So this is actually one of the things I hope they do with Magic Arena, which I'm actually really excited for, to be quite honest. Looks like oh, mine's not frozen. I thought mine was frozen for a second. This is actually one thing I really hope they do on Magic Arena. So if you play Hearthstone, I play Hearthstone as well. Not as much, nowhere near as much as I play Magic, but I also play Hearthstone. And one of the things actually I really hope they do on Magic Arena is do, instead of the timer what we have right now, or well, the timer what we have right now, which I actually don't like at all, because the timer means that you can't play certain decks. Just flat out not possible to play certain decks. So I hope they do what they didn't do in Hearthstone, where you don't have a time limit. You have a time limit per turn. So you have whatever it is, it's a minute and a half or 2 minutes to do all of your stuff on your turn. I hope that's the direction they go, because right now you don't see control decks. You don't see certain combo decks, because they physically can't be played unless you are literally a master of that deck and can just slam through it as fast as possible. So you see this huge skew of Like example, Eggs. Eggs is a reasonably, not super well played, but it is a played deck in paper. Oh, there we go. Opponent has, I guess, been disconnected, so we have won the match. Anyways, let me finish my story. So Eggs, you don't see played very often in MTGO because it takes forever to play, where in paper you actually see quite a bit. So this is what I hope they do. Anyways, until next time, I'm Adrian, this is Giant Monster Games, hope for you, thanks for watching, and until next time, don't forget to game like a giant monster. Hey, thanks for watching the video. If you want to support Giant Monster Games directly, feel free to go over to our Patreon page and subscribe or become a backer. If you do, you can get your name in the description here in the Patreons and supporters section. Or if you want to actually watch some of our other videos, you can check out the videos right here where I gameplay and more, or my latest video. Until next time, thanks for watching.